Good morning. I am 5 minutes earlier today. As always, if you're watching in recording, you're welcome to fast forward 5 minutes or stay with us through our hellos. Good morning, Gina. Good morning, Ari. All right, it is time for us to start. Today, let's talk about sadness. Brené Brown says, sadness is important and we all need it. Sadness is a normal response to loss or defeat, or even the perception of loss or defeat. to be human is to know sadness. Owning our sadness is courageous and the necessary step to find our way back to ourselves, back to each other. Here are some things that are important to know about sadness. Sadness is not the same as depression. Sadness is sometimes referred to as depressed mood, and it may be one of the symptoms of depression, but definitely not the only one. Depression is a cluster of symptoms that persist over a period of time, and these symptoms can include lack of interest in pleasant activities, loss of appetite, excessive fatigue, insomnia, difficulty in concentration, etc. Sadness is not the same as grief. Again, sadness is usually a part of grief, but grief is so much more. It includes a whole group of other emotions and experiences, and we'll talk about that some other day. There are positive aspects to sadness. A professor of psychology, Joseph P. Forgas, writes, "Though much has been made of the many benefits of happiness, it's important to consider that sadness can be beneficial too. Evolutionary theory suggests that we should embrace all of our emotions, as each has an important role to play under the right circumstances. So though you may seek different ways to increase happiness, don't haphazardly push away your sadness. No doubt, it's there for a reason." I love this, how he says, don't haphazardly push away your sadness. It's there for a reason. I feel this is such an important message in our society that conditions us to be almost afraid of sadness. People say, "You look sad, what's wrong with you," right? Our society kind of wants us to be happy and bubbly all the time. And that just can't happen. It's not in the human nature. So what might be the purpose of sadness? Some scholars suggest that one function of sadness is to cause the person to evaluate their life and consider making changes in their circumstances following a negative event, as well as to recruit help and support from others. Brené Brown talks quite a bit about people liking sad movies. And it's an interesting paradox, really. We generally avoid being sad, and yet we often find pleasure in sad movies. We all like to be moved, and sad movies move us. We all like to feel connected to what it means to be human, to relate to each other, to be reminded of our connection to one another. And again, sad movies accomplish that. So basically, this is what researcher Julian Hannick, in his study of sadness, revealed. A highly significant positive correlation exists between sadness and enjoyment. And the reason for this correlation is that sadness leads to feeling moved, which in turn leads to enjoyment. He says, hence sadness primarily functions as a contributor of the emotional state and as an intensifier of the emotional state. It helps us to be moved emotionally. And apparently this is really important for us as humans. So to summarize, this is what I make out of all of this. It's okay to be sad. In fact, sadness is beneficial for us, especially if we remember that its main purpose is to remind us that some things in our life might need to be changed. And if we allow our sadness to move us into connecting with all of humanity in general, in principle, and in very practical ways, like reaching out to friends or finding ways to connect. So now let's do a short embodied practice around sadness. As always, take a comfortable position and take a few moments to settle in. Scan your body. Notice how you're feeling today, physically, emotionally, mentally. How are you today, really? Let your breath be soft and free. Don't try to control it. Just see if you can observe your breath as it flows in and out of your body. And now bring to mind a situation in which you felt sad, or something that makes you sad on a regular basis. What's your immediate reaction to feeling sad? Do you try to push it under the rug right away, distracting yourself? Or do you allow yourself to be sad, knowing that it's safe and even necessary to be sad sometimes? That this too shall pass and it's okay to feel this way. Whatever it is for you, notice how your body is doing during your default reaction to sadness. What are the physical sensations? What's your breath like? Do you want to be in any particular position or create any particular movement? What is your sadness trying to communicate to you? Maybe something needs to be changed and you can do it. Or maybe you want to change something, but no, it's absolutely impossible for whatever reason. And even if you don't particularly like what you find out through this exploration, can you be okay with it? Can you accept it? What would happen if you allowed your sadness to be as big as it wants to in the moment? How does that feel in your body and mind? Is there any fear that if you let your sadness be as it is, it will consume you and eventually might contribute to depression? Or is there trust that it's okay to feel whatever you feel? Is there a knowing that this too shall pass if you only allow it to go through you naturally? Remind yourself that the natural cycle of any emotion is only 60 to 90 seconds. Meaning that if you can stay with the physical expression, physical sensations of your emotion for just that long, paying attention to the body and breath, the emotion will organically pass. Remind yourself that emotions consume us only if we go into rumination, perpetuating the natural cycle of things with our thoughts. How do you feel now? Physically, emotionally, mentally? Has this little practice helped you reframe your outlook on sadness? Are you ready to let yourself be sad whenever you need to be sad, without fear that it's bad? Letting go of this misconception that you need to be happy all the time or else something is wrong with you. I hope so. As you go through your day today, I invite you to notice what makes you sad. Observe your default reaction to sadness. Whatever it is, pushing sadness under the rug or going with it, own it. And if you need to be sad, allow yourself to be sad without fear and see what happens. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, persistent sadness combined with insomnia, loss of appetite, lack of interest in usually pleasant activities, yeah, it may be one of the symptoms of depression. If you find out that that's the case for you, again, it's okay. Consider reaching out for support. Friends, therapists, coach. Remember, you are never alone, even if sometimes it may feel this way. Ari says, today I will share a story about sadness after the practice. Please do, Ari, so we'll look forward to that. Thank you so much for being here today. I wish you to have a beautiful day. I'm actually traveling to New York today. So tomorrow our practice is going to be with a different view. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.